Hello, people. I'm Scotty D, and today I've got the Love Rock in for some crack repair. Let's check it out. The Love Rock. Soon we'll be making another run. It's fun for everyone. The Tokai. And there's the crack. Does that look like lacquer to you? It looks like poly to me. Let's look at it from another angle. Jeez, look at those old screw holes. Those look horrible. Like filled with black gook. He doesn't want to feel this anymore. You can totally feel it with your, Well, got a couple chips around the edges. Not gonna repair those, just gonna focus on the headstock crack today. He must really love this guitar. I know a lot of people do love their Japanese lawsuit era Les Pauls. I know my guitar hero from the 70s played this color. Ace Frehley, lead guitar, shock me. There he is with his Les Paul right there. Ace Frehley, the spaceman. I was a little more attracted to the shape of Gene Simmons' bass guitar, so I got me a double-horned SG style for my first guitar. The Demon. Also the same guitar that dude played. And that dude. I'll measure the string action at the 12th fret to see if I can make any improvements while I'm at it. And this is measuring at 5/64 on the bass E and 5.5 64ths on the treble E. That's a little high. Let's see what the neck relief shows. Okay. The neck relief gauge shows 13 thousandths of an inch relief in the middle of the neck at the 7th fret. 13 thousandths is a little much. Okay, we've got standard tuning, concert pitch E. We've got string gauge of 46, bass E, 10 thousandths, treble E, 10 through 46, standard tuning, 5/64 at the 12th fret action, 13 thousandths of an inch relief. I think we can make some improvements on the playability while we're at it. I always write all the parameters down here that we've got standard tuning. We've got 10 through 46 strings. We've got an action 5/64 and 5.5 on the treble. I got a relief of minus 13. It's excessive. I want to get this down to about 8 thousandths. And I want this action to go down to about 4 4/64 when I'm done. Oh, and guys, these are the carbon copy. This is what my invoices look like. I keep the carbon. It's a carbonless copy is what it is. This one I thought was too bold, so I redid it with this more delicate logo. All these logos were done by Brian Hanlon, OG Media. He's also a customer, a great player. If you need any work done, if you're in this business to try to make some money, he did all these. You got to fake it till you make it. You got to come up with a good logo. Got to buy the good tools, and the money will follow. I got fret ends. Okay, I plugged it in. I can tell you the bridge pot needs cleaned. And the action little stiff. Yeah, this could totally feel better with less relief. Now I've put some lacquer thinner on a Q-tip and rubbed it vigorously on the lacquer under the tuning machine to see if it indeed is lacquer or poly, and it seems to be lacquer. I'm checking the relief with no string tension, and it's still got 8, 6, 7 thousandths of an inch. Not good. If the truss rod tightens easily, we're in good shape, but this one's super stiff, so we're kind of in trouble. It's going to need some help. Now I'll start scuffing up the surface and leveling it off with a little 320 grit sandpaper. But I'll use a little glue dry accelerator. Now I'm going to try using this gouge to carve out a little valley of sorts where the color's going to go. I've recently had a couple times where I've laid the color down, put on some top coat finish, and then sanded through. So my goal was to kind of think 2 steps ahead there. But anyways, this is the Zinsser spray shellac with a little bit of red Blendall powdered opaque pigment and a little bit of cherry red stain, the color tone cherry red. I mixed the two with the shellac. The shellac layer is so thin that it won't show up as a bump when I'm finished. I'll lay down about 10 coats of the fill and finish ultra thin over top of this. And it dries real fast. So as usual, shellac as my color coat, dries real fast, goes on real thin, and it's easy to correct. If it goes on wrong, I can wipe it off with denatured alcohol. No big deal. Actually, on this job, since we're doing this over lacquer, denatured alcohol would kind of affect the lacquer underneath. So you have to be careful when you use that stuff. Denatured, that is. All right, now that I've got all the color on there, I'm going to use this brown marker to draw in a couple dark brown dots, simulating the mahogany pores or wood beneath. It'll kind of camouflage the crack. So a little recap. I had the fill and finish for getting everything level. I had the Blendall red and a little bit of color tone cherry red in this cup with a little bit of Zinsser spray shellac that I picked up that type of technique from Ian Hates Guitar's Ding King series. I went over it one time with that color, and then I mixed in a little bit of this colloidal and diluted it with a little bit of alcohol and went over it again to kind of haze things up. And then I went over it with this number 1 Micron pen. It's a archival ink color Sakura, which is a dark brown. It looks like little grain lines, when you dot it in. And now I'll wait for that to dry for 15 minutes, and I'll just wipe on some more of the Glue Boost Fill and Finish Ultra Thin Pro Formula. That's what us pros use. It works on lacquer, poly, any finish. It's formulated to be flexible, so if you clean your surfaces well, it'll blend right in with no witness lines. Alright, I gave it a half hour for the shellac and the pen to dry. I'm going to give it a quick acceleration. I'll place the ultra thin here. I'll grab a lip brush and I'll wipe it on. I don't want it super wet brush. I don't want to hose it down. I just want to give it that first little layer as a barrier so that the color stays where it is. It seems kind of wet, but that's what it is. Another spray. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of golden brown to my red and go over it one more time. Okay, so that was the. These are. I started with a new cup, a fresh cup, and I just used the dyes or stains from Color Tone, the golden brown and the cherry red, mixed with shellac. It's pretty dark looking, but look what it looks like on the project. I have a feeling that's gonna work. Let's give it another 15 minutes and I'll wipe that ultra thin out over top of it again and yeah, I think that'll work. Attempt number 2. Okay, this time I've got a little paper towel. I'm going to go in, I'm going to blot it off on the paper towel and then a wipe. That way it doesn't go on so thick. Now I'll spray the second spray onto the paper towel over by the fart fan. And I like the color. I think I'll continue wiping. So I'll be wiping accelerator on the project in between each wipe of the ultra thin fill and finish. I'll start off with these little brushes and then I'll work my way into wiping it over a bigger area with paper towels. And I might accelerate with the paper towel in between each one. I like to get about 8 to 10 thin coats. I usually fold the paper towel in half twice, and then I put a little wax paper in between the fold. That way it doesn't make it through and stick to my glove. Now you notice I'm starting to go side to side. Seemed like it was going on a little smoother when I was rubbing it side to side, but maybe it's okay to mix up the direction that you're wiping it in. We're going to be doing some level sanding. So we'll start with 600 grit wet sandpaper, and this has been soaking in soapy water. I use Simple Green. It's that green detergent. I work my way up to 800 and 1000, and I finish it off with 12,000 grit. Usually on poly surfaces, I go all the way up to 3,000, but this is lacquer, so we won't need it to be quite as shiny, and 1200 is good enough for lacquer. The problem with going up to 3000 with the glue boost is it'll look super duper shiny right next to lacquer that doesn't look so shiny. So right here I'm just going over the lacquer with the 12. You see? And then I'll go over both areas, the glue boost area and the lacquer area, with the Ultra Cut compound, the Heavy Cut 105. A little too much on that pad. I'll wipe a little off. Starting to look good. As we start blending those two different finishes together at the seam. This is the Viva paper towel. You can see a little witness line there. Probably nothing to cry about. You can kind of see a witness line there and here. Maybe a little more buffing. I'll take a little bit of the Trizac pad and kind of go over that witness line on a diagonal. Then I'll use the compound again. Much better. Much better. Sometimes it's nice to have a little wax on there at the end. I've been waxing a lot of stuff lately because, I don't know, I just had this one job that nothing seemed to look good until I waxed it, and then it was like, I think that guy's coming to pick up his guitar today. Yeah, I gotta tell him about that wax because he likes to keep his guitar clean on the road, and I think just like you'd want to keep your car clean on the road, you want to wax it. Alright, after buffing it dry, get some fingerprints on there. It looks good as new. That's the trick. I like the grain on that side right there. See, there's that dark line in that growth ring. Goes all the way through here, and it goes up and around. It's like a big smiley face. It's a nice piece of wood. Well, good enough for me. If it's good enough for you. And I like what I did with those little holes. Those look great compared to what they looked like before. And that was almost an accident. Afterthought, anyways. Yeah, I can't spend all day on this job because I've got 2 neck resets. And I'm wondering if I should film them. I've got a Martin over here. And a Gretsch. The Martin is a 2005. And the Gretsch is like a 67, 68, I want to say. So yeah, you got the 000 C16 and the Gretsch Country Gentleman Nashville. 2 neck resets coming up. My God, these screws are kind of crappy. They're kind of like zinc. They don't look like a good steel like you'd normally have on a Fender or a Gibson. They look like zinc to me. Here's a little trick if you have a really old and dirty headstock. Take a Viva paper towel with some Simple Green and give it a wipe, because a lot of that stuff on there is finger grease. It's soluble in soapy water. Guitar polish won't really clean it. And then, after the Simple Green, go with straight, clean water. It's even okay on lacquer. If it's shellac, it's not okay though. Not many guitars have shellac finishes though. Just old antiques. After that, another wipe with some dry, And then maybe a little guitar polish, and you'll have a really nice, clean looking headstock. It looks like someone tried to scratch off the Love Rock at some point. They thought it was stupid, probably. But now, those days are gone, and the Love Rock is cool again. I'll be getting him a new set of strings. And I'm not tremendously happy with the way that truss rod nut fell. It is unhumanly tight of a amount of pressure that I had to put on that to try to tighten it. I'm going to lube it up, try to help it out a little bit. I'll take a little Dynaglide on the diamond stone. Dynaglide on a diamond. Make sure this is nice and clean. I'll clean off the Half Moon washer and I'll lube it up. I might be able to get a little straightening on the, out of the neck. Yeah. Brown lithium grease. I could tighten it a little more, maybe. It's still not dead flat. See what that did. Yep. About 1/1000. That'll probably pull into about 6 or 7. So this was that first little batch of CA glue. I was able to mix the Blend All red with acetone and then mix in the ultra thin. That allowed me to get that really opaque red that I filled those holes with. As you can see, it's kind of flexible. It hasn't completely cured yet, but yeah. And then that was the first little batch of color I did with the shellac, and then the second batch, which was a little darker. So I'll tighten these babies rest of the way. He's an animal, I tell you. He's a rock and roll animal. Okay, so I pull up by the 12th fret, I yank up on the string, and I get about 6 inches spacing between the fretboard and the string as I pull it up. I go over, I give it that bend, and then the rest of the wraps go under. And that 6-inch pull that I did to begin with kind of guarantees me there's going to be about 2 or 3 wraps under the E. I might pull up 6.5 inches on the A, get a couple extra wraps on the thinner strings. I go over, I go under. Never had a string pop out on me. No need to tie knots in them. Just realized, no wonder this guitar sounds good. It has brass saddles. Nothing beats a brass saddle. I've never played a guitar with a brass saddle and a brass nut. That would probably be amazing. Those are pretty good tuners. The Schallers out of Germany. They always satisfy me. They just didn't look good with those black holes. A little better. Those black holes don't come out and grab you like they did before. What's this? Looks like a dude. Well, I did manage to get the neck relief down to 8/1000ths of an inch, which brought the string action down to 4/64. Right where I wanted it. The Love Rock. Soon we'll be making another run. Thanks for hanging out for another crack video. Really appreciate you tuning in. Hope to see you next week. I'll catch you later.